A girl is swimming when suddenly the clasp on her swimsuit pops open. Panicking, she frantically reaches behind to fasten it, but in her flustered state, she can't get it right. The crowd around her erupts in mocking laughter. A handsome guy nearby sees what's happening and immediately gets up to help her out of the embarrassing situation. Just then, a middle-aged woman walks over to the girl and quickly fixes her swimsuit in no time. The girl is about to thank her when the woman suddenly slaps her across the face. The girl is completely stunned, but what the woman says next leaves her even more shocked. The woman claims to be the girl, Namire, 25 years from the future. To change Namire's destiny, she traveled back from 2038 in a time machine. She says that as long as Namire follows her instructions, they can change their fate and become successful. Although the older version of herself looks exactly like her, Namire doesn't believe it and doesn't want to deal with her. Seeing this, Elder Mire tells her that under no circumstances should she drive today, warning that it would lead to disaster. But Namire starts the car when Elder Mire isn't paying attention. Unable to stop her, Elder Mire can only warn Namire not to take the second lane. On the way home, Namire can't help but think about Elder Mire's warning. After an intense internal struggle, Namire ultimately decides to change lanes. The next second, there's a violent crash in the lane beside her. This terrifies Namire. Seeing the accident behind her, Namire feels grateful she listened to Elder Mire's warning. However, what she doesn't know is that the man in the car behind her is actually her future husband. Elder Mire made her do this to prevent her from meeting her future husband. Soon Namire arrives home, only to find that Elder Mire has been waiting for her. Namire thinks Elder Mire is a stalker and quickly calls the police. It's only after Elder Mire reveals secrets that only she could know that Namire slowly calms down. But Namire is still skeptical. Seeing this, Elder Mire pulls out a diary identical to Namire's. After comparing them, Namire finally believes Elder Mire. Namire doesn't understand why Elder Mire came to find her. Elder Mire says she's here to help Namire choose a good husband. The first step in choosing a good husband is to participate in the company's employee talent competition. If she wins first place, she'll get a trip voucher to a Jeju Island resort. Elder Mire's ideal husband candidate is waiting in Jeju Island. Following Elder Mire's instructions, Namire enters the competition. With Elder Mire's ability to predict the future helping her out, Namire actually wins first place. Having never flown before, she's incredibly excited. However, Elder Mire tells her that changing her fate has only just begun, and many good things are still ahead. Soon the two arrive at the resort, but before they can properly enjoy themselves, Elder Mire throws several Korean civil service exam textbooks at her. She says she'll help her find a good husband, but will men with money, good personalities, and good looks date someone like her now? So first, she needs a respectable job. Namire is troubled by this, saying these are level 7 civil service exam materials that she could never pass. Elder Mire says she's already memorized the answers. Namire complains that she might as well have memorized lottery numbers instead. Elder Mire is stunned by this. How did she not think of that? Unfortunately, Elder Mire didn't bring any winning lottery numbers, and she only has one chance to travel through time. While Namire contemplates her life, Elder Mire searches around the resort for the man she's chosen. The man she's chosen is named Park Sae-ju, a future media mogul who not only has a handsome face but is also very devoted in love. But no matter how hard she looks, she can't find him. Meanwhile, Namire sneaks off to the resort pool while Elder Mire isn't around and has a blast there. Seeing that Namire completely ignores her advice, Elder Mire gets furious. She jumps into the water and slaps Namire. Back in their room, Namire accuses Elder Mire of humiliating her in front of so many people. Elder Mire says she's trying to help Namire change her current fate. However, Namire feels that her current life isn't so bad. Elder Mire asks her if listening to people mock her parents and then crying in the bathroom is living well. Is she happy being the only one of her friends who's falling behind? Namire says why should she compare herself to others? Seeing her impossible to help attitude, Elder Mire is furious. The two argue more intensely, and Elder Mire even angrily tells her that if she doesn't want to change and isn't willing to face reality, she'll just be a burden to her brother her whole life. So what's the point of living? She might as well die. After hearing this, Namire is completely devastated. That night when no one's around, she walks into the ocean feeling hopeless. This scene is witnessed by the wealthy heir Park Sae-ju from a distance. To see clearly what the girl in the water is doing, Park Sae-ju grabs a camera and zooms in to observe. At the same time, Namire notices fish swimming freely in the water. Thinking about how even such small creatures are fighting desperately to survive, she instantly feels hope to live again. To cast off all the burdens in her heart, she raises her hand and takes off her clothes, then unzips her skirt. Park Sae-ju is embarrassed and quickly puts down the camera, but he can't help peeking to see what the girl wants to do. He sees the girl dive into the ocean, and then under the bright moonlight, she swims freely with the fish, shedding all constraints. It's the beautiful moonlight's fault. Park Sae-ju instantly falls for Namire. The next day when Namire wakes up, she sees Elder Mire sitting by her bed. Elder Mire tearfully scolds Namire for trying to commit suicide, but Namire explains that in the ocean, she saw tiny fish swimming desperately to survive, so she decided to strip naked and break through her limitations. Now she's determined to change. Back at the company, she immediately tells off a customer who insulted her. Then she submits her resignation to her manager. She initially wanted to follow Elder Mire's Mire's advice and take the civil service exam, but after careful consideration, she chooses to become a TV program director because that's the career she truly loves. Meanwhile, elder Mire pretends to be her mother and goes to a matchmaking agency. Without hesitation, she asks the matchmaker to show her all the profiles of high-quality men. When she sees the list, she's shocked. Some of these men will become gamblers in the future, some will commit fraud, and some will even commit murder and arson. This is practically a prison roster. With no choice, she picks from the least promising list. Surprisingly, she finds some gems. There's a real estate tycoon and an internet giant on this list. Many of these men will make comebacks and become industry moguls. Elder Mire excitedly asks the matchmaker to copy these profiles for her. The matchmaker is stunned, thinking Elder Mire has lost her mind. Later, Elder Mire learns that Na Mire plans to become a director at a TV station. She quickly calls to stop Na Mire, saying the man who will ruin Na Mire's life is at the TV station and she shouldn't repeat the same mistakes. The real reason is that her original future husband was a TV station host, and she doesn't want to meet that man again. But during their phone call, Na Mire accidentally gets into a car accident. The person she hits is her original future husband, Kim Shin. Since Na Mire hit Kim Shin, she's extremely panicked. To reduce compensation, Na Mire immediately pretends she hurt her back, but Kim Shin sees through her act right away. Seeing she wants to play games, Kim Shin takes her straight to the police station without a word. Unexpectedly, Na Mire discovers that Kim Shin's driver's license has expired. Kim Shin is terrified. If his unlicensed driving is exposed, his career will be completely ruined. Then he remembers the TV director materials in Na Mire's car, so he makes a deal with Na Mire. He'll arrange for her to work at the TV station, and she'll keep his secret. Soon Na Mire starts working at the TV station. At the same time, the wealthy heir Park Saeju also conceals his identity and starts working at his family's TV station. Because Na Mire damaged her brother's car, she tries to avoid her brother who works at the TV station and ends up running into Park Saeju's editing room by mistake. Park Saeju immediately recognizes Na Mire as the girl he fell in love with at the beach. Elder Mire wanted to come to the TV station to stop Na Mire, but she sees the two of them together and is instantly delighted. She never expected that Park Saeju, whom she's been searching for, was right under her nose. Elder Mire immediately asks Park Saeju if he has a girlfriend. Park Saeju says no with a smile. Elder Mire wants to continue questioning Park Saeju, but Na Mire feels embarrassed and quickly asks Elder Mire to stop. Then Elder Mire pulls Na Mire to a private spot. Na Mire thinks Elder Mire will be angry about her working at the TV station, but Elder Mire praises her for doing an excellent job. She tells her that Saeju is super rich and will create a media empire in the future with the power to influence the entire country. Elder Mire says that originally during the Jeju Island trip, Saeju would have fallen in love at first sight with his future wife Yukyung, but Saeju is still single now, which means their futures have changed. But Elder Mire never imagined that Yukyung has already met Kim Shin in Na Mire's place. Elder Mire insists that Na Mire must seduce Saeju and urges her to take action immediately. After Na Mire leaves, Elder Mire takes out Kim Shin's photo and apologizes to her husband. Later, Na Mire finds Saeju in the music storage room and discovers he's reading her script. Thinking her writing is terrible, Na Mire quickly apologizes, but Saeju praises Na Mire's excellent work. When choosing background music for the editing script, they both instinctively pick the same song. Looking at the handsome Saeju, Na Mire doesn't understand why a rich person would come work as a photographer. It turns out that a few days ago, Saeju told his grandmother he was going to learn at the family TV station and planned to conceal his identity and start from the bottom. Grandmother warned Saeju to come back and take over the company after gaining experience, since the company is now controlled by the daughters-in-law and all her sons were dominated to death by their wives. Saeju says that in today's society, if a son dies, who would blame the daughter-in-law? Then who should be blamed for my parents? Who died together, me or grandmother? This guy's values are so sound that anyone would choose Saeju as a husband. Elder Mire keeps calling Na Mire but gets no answer. On the other side, Kim Shin also can't reach Na Mire. Just as Kim Shin thinks Na Mire has exposed his unlicensed driving, Elder Mire calls the office, claiming to be Na Mire's mother. Kim Shin comes to the lobby, wanting Elder Mire to stop Na Mire from revealing his unlicensed driving. Seeing her husband from 25 years ago, Elder Mire unleashes all her pent-up emotions and tears into Kim Shin. Kim Shin looks at Elder Mire in complete confusion, having no idea what she's talking about, and thinks Na Mire and Elder Mire are scheming against him. Meanwhile, Na Mire returns to the office. Producer Bae finds Na Mire and tells her she's been fired because she's too old. Na Mire walks out of the office sadly, holding back tears while trying to cheer herself up. But when she's about to say goodbye to Kim Shin, he splashes a glass of cold water in her face. Kim Shin calls Na Mire a liar, saying she's blackmailing him with his unlicensed driving. Na Mire is speechless, saying she doesn't have time to waste on people who have nothing to do with her. Saeju comes to the changing room to comfort Na Mire. Na Mire tries to pretend she's fine, but tears stream down her face anyway as she shares her grievances. Kim Shin learns that Na Mire was fired by producer Bae because of her age. This reminds Kim Shin of what the chairman initially told him, that he was removed from from his anchor position because of his age. Na-Mire returns to the conference room to get her notebook, only to find it's pinned under PD Lee's chair on the floor. Seeing that PD Lee has no intention of helping, Na-Mire has to crawl on the floor to get it. Seeing his sister like this, her brother angrily tells Na-Mire to leave and says he'll get it for her after the meeting. Just as Na-Mire is about to leave, Kim Shin stops her and asks if she has any good news leads. Na-Mire suggests interviewing a poor elderly person who donated to charity. Everyone thinks it's ridiculous, but to everyone's surprise, Kim Shin agrees and makes Na-Mire the assistant for this project. Her brother takes Na-Mire to the cafeteria and demands she leave the TV station immediately because he doesn't want to see his sister being bullied here. Na-Mire holds her brother's hand and acts cute with him. Her soft-hearted brother eventually agrees. Back home, her brother asks Elder Mire to make him some porridge the next morning. Elder Mire nervously asks if he's sick. Her brother awkwardly reminds Elder Mire that not every man likes being called Appa. Thinking Elder Mire understood, she still habitually calls him Appa. Na-Mire and the others arrive at a stationery store to interview a poor elderly person. Kim Shin confidently rushes forward to introduce himself as an anchor wanting to interview him. The old man scoops up a ladle of water and pours it over his head. Everyone is shocked. Kim Shin wants to try again, but the old man picks up a broom and shoos Kim Shin away. Just when everyone is at a loss, Na-Mire brings over a dog. As it happens, the old man loves dogs. After seeing the puppy, the old man changes his fiery attitude and becomes willing to accept Kim Shin's interview. After this incident, Na-Mire successfully gets the opportunity to work at the TV station. At this time, Yu-kyung returns to work at the TV station after being discharged from the hospital. She's very enthusiastic with every male colleague, feeding them pizza one by one. Na-Mire is about to introduce herself when Yu-kyung directly asks how old she is, saying she looks a bit old. Na-Mire asks Yu-kyung's age back. Yu-kyung cutely says she's 12. When Kim Shin comes over, she immediately rushes up to hug him. After this series of expert flirting moves, Na-Mire feels disgusted. Later Yu-kyung goes to Saeju's editing room. To seduce Saeju, she deliberately spreads her legs seductively. Thinking the wealthy heir would take the bait, Saeju instead covers her legs with his jacket. Without thinking, Yu-kyung throws the jacket aside. Saeju can't stand it anymore and asks her if she wants to sleep with him, saying it seems like Ms. Yu-kyung gets all her programs this way, but unfortunately, he's just a photographer and doesn't have that much power. Yu-kyung feels humiliated and is about to retort when Na-Mire calls Saeju outside. The two of them laughing and chatting outside makes Yu-kyung even more furious. Na-Mire watches the interview footage with the elderly man alongside Kim Shin, recalling what Kim Shin said to the old man that ultimately moved him to accept the interview, and now with Kim Shin standing behind her giving guidance, Na-Mire develops inexplicable feelings for Kim Shin. This scene is discovered by Elder Mire. To monitor Na-Mire, Elder Mire comes to work as a cleaner at the TV station. Elder Mire warns her not to associate with Kim Shin because Kim Shin is Na-Mire's husband, and Kim Shin will make her life miserable. Yu-kyung asks Na-Mire about her relationship with Saeju. Na-Mire says, "Don't you have Kim Shin?" Yu-kyung smiles and says that when it comes to men, the more the better. Na-Mire smiles bitterly. Then Na-Mire quickly runs to find Elder Mire to discuss strategy. If both men are seduced by Yu-kyung, she'll have nothing left. Elder Mire tells Na-Mire that Saeju's destined element is water. That night, Na-Mire deliberately rides in Saeju's car, constantly thinking about how to use water to seduce Saeju. She splashes water on her face, but the clueless Saeju thinks she's hot and asks if she wants him to turn on the air conditioning. Seeing this doesn't work, Na-Mire asks to go to a car wash. While the machine is washing the car outside, Na-Mire suddenly opens the sunroof, and they both get drenched. Back at the TV station, Na-Mire feels incredibly embarrassed. Saeju thoughtfully drapes a blanket over Na-Mire. Seeing that Saeju is also wet, Na-Mire asks him to share the blanket. Looking at the scar faintly visible on Na-Mire's shoulder, Saeju recalls the scene of saving Na-Mire at the beach that day when he fell in love with her at first sight. Na-Mire and Saeju chat happily, and all this happens to be seen by Kim Shin passing by. Meanwhile, a man in black steps onto the time machine. Kim Shin wakes up from a dream in which the person he hit wasn't Yu-kyung but Na-Mire, and they became lovers. In the dream, Na-Mire had a scar on her shoulder. The next morning, Kim Shin meets Na-Mire in the elevator. Kim Shin says, "Excuse me," to Na-Mire, then pulls down her clothes. The scar on her shoulder is exactly the same as in his dream. Na-Mire scolds Kim Shin, asking if he took the wrong medicine this morning. Watching Na-Mire leave, Kim Shin can't believe it. Na-Mire's proposal to interview the poor elderly person achieved very high ratings. After the show ends, Saeju pulls Na-Mire over to show her that her name is written at the end of the program. Na-Mire excitedly hugs Saeju. Seeing them so intimate, Kim Shin is instantly consumed with jealousy and slams the table, loudly scolding them both, saying he told them not to date at the company. It looks like the war between these two men is about to begin. Standing in the stairwell, Kim Shin doesn't know what got into him today to suddenly lose his temper like that. At noon, Kim Shin and Yu-kyung return from lunch to find Saeju and Na-Mire together, standing very close. An inexplicable anger rises in Kim Shin's heart, and he rushes over yelling at them, scaring Na-Mire so much she falls to the ground. ground. That night, both Na Mi-rae and Kim Shin have the same dream where they're intimately together, but when her brother discovers them, he strongly objects. They both wake up startled from the dream. Soon after, the scheduled guest for Kim Shin's morning show doesn't show up. When producer Bae is anxious, he runs into elder Mi-rae, having heard she can predict the future, so he grabs her as a last-minute replacement. Unexpectedly, as soon as she's on the show, elder Mi-rae bluntly says that Kim Shin will soon lose his TV station anchor job and will have to rely on his wife's income. His wife will come home exhausted every morning and won't get any sympathy from him. Everyone is shocked. Kim Shin doesn't want to hear any more and ends the show, but all this is witnessed by the chairman who loves fortune-telling. After the show, Na Mi-rae catches up with elder Mi-rae and asks if what she just said is true. Elder Mi-rae tells Na Mi-rae that this is exactly why she traveled back in time to have her choose Sae-ju. At this moment, Na Mi-rae receives calls from both Kim Shin and Sae-ju asking to meet her. Elder Mi-rae lets Na Mi-rae decide for herself. After intense internal struggle, Na Mi-rae ultimately chooses to meet Sae-ju and asks him to go to an amusement park together the next day. Sae-ju shows a shy smile. Then elder Mi-rae walks down the street looking pale. Just then, the chairman's car passes by, and elder Mi-rae faints on the ground and is rescued by the chairman. The doctor tells the chairman that elder Mi-rae's body is aging rapidly. The chairman asks elder Mi-rae why she deliberately approached her. Elder Mi-rae tells the chairman she dreams of the future in her dreams. Seeing the chairman doesn't believe her, elder Mi-rae reveals Sae-ju's identity. The chairman is shocked. Elder Mi-rae suggests the chairman send Kim Shin to work in New York and tells the chairman before leaving to open the window and look outside around 10:30 p.m. 3 days later. Meanwhile, Sae-ju invites Na Mi-rae to watch a short film in his rental apartment. Na Mi-rae seriously watches Sae-ju's work while Sae-ju gazes at Na Mi-rae affectionately and reaches out to wipe food from her lips. The intimate atmosphere reaches its peak. 3 days later in the morning, the chairman announces that due to Kim Shin's work mistakes, he'll be sent to work in the countryside, along with other related personnel. Seeing that Kim Shin isn't being sent to New York and has even implicated innocent people, elder Mi-rae decides to help everyone. A few days later, elder Mi-rae asks Kim Shin out and hands him an umbrella. As soon as he takes the umbrella, it starts raining, shocking Kim Shin. Elder Mi-rae texts Na Mi-rae, telling her to take her brother to the highest point in 10 minutes. The chairman also opens the window at the time elder Mi-rae specified. Just then, a distant tower suddenly collapses. This scene terrifies everyone. This incident not only makes Kim Shin believe elder Mi-rae can predict the future, but the chairman also becomes convinced. Then elder Mi-rae says that the next day there will be an arson incident at Tuxeum subway station that will kill and injure over 100 people. They can go film it in advance for an exclusive. This way, everyone won't have to be sent away. Kim Shin doesn't believe it at all, saying if it's true, they should go save people. Finally, Sae-ju suggests they save people while filming the show. Everyone then begins planning the rescue and filming in earnest. Soon everyone arrives at the subway station. Just as everyone is anxiously waiting, a man in a red hat sneaks into the train car, suddenly pours gasoline on the subway, takes out a lighter and throws it hard on the ground. Instantly, the car is engulfed in flames and chaos ensues. Kim Shin chases the red hat man on the subway with Na Mi-rae following closely behind, live streaming the scene on her phone. When the red hat man has nowhere to escape and is caught by Kim Shin, the two quickly scuffle. Elder Mi-rae and her brother are both worried about Na Mi-rae's safety. Kim Shin tells Na Mi-rae to leave quickly. At this moment, the red hat man picks up a cone and throws it at Na Mi-rae. Na Mi-rae accidentally hits an advertising sign and gets pinned under the falling sign. Kim Shin immediately runs back to save Na Mi-rae, but she tells him not to worry about her and insists he chase the red hat man. Meanwhile, learning that the fire hydrant valve won't release water, Sae-ju quickly finds the locked water valve. Thinking of Na Mi-rae trapped inside, he desperately tries to cut the iron chain with pliers. Kim Shin closely follows the red hat man with his phone, warning him that the whole country is watching. While the red hat man is panicking, he's caught by arriving police. Kim Shin rushes back to save Na Mi-rae. The moment Na Mi-rae is rescued by Kim Shin, Sae-ju finally opens the water valve. He then hurries to find Na Mi-rae, but when he arrives, he sees the two of them sitting together laughing and chatting. Sae-ju walks away feeling dejected. Afterward, Sae-ju acts cute with Na Mi-rae, asking her to massage him. The two laugh and chat, and all this is also witnessed by Kim Shin. Everyone is holding a celebration party when Na Mi-rae walks in. Both Sae-ju and Kim Shin ask Na Mi-rae to sit next to them. At this moment, her brother gives up his seat for Na Mi-rae to sit next to him. Looking at the three men in front of her, Na Mi-rae doesn't know how to choose and ends up sitting on the other side of the sofa. Sae-ju quickly brings Na Mi-rae snacks, and Kim Shin isn't about to be outdone, pouring her a drink. Yukyung watches all this and gnashes her teeth with jealousy. Back home, both Na Mi-rae and Kim Shin want to call each other. They both use taking classes as an excuse to agree to meet tomorrow. All this happens to be overheard by Elder Mi-rae. Elder Mi-rae demands that Na Mi-rae not associate with with Kim Shin. Unexpectedly, Na Mireille says she's different from Elder Mireille, who only cares about money and is too shallow. Elder Mireille's eyes well up with tears as she says in a choked voice, "When I was your age, I had dreams and passion, but marriage isn't something you can maintain with just dreams." With that, Elder Mireille angrily leaves. At this moment, the man in black who traveled from the future finds Elder Mireille. Elder Mireille reacts and quickly runs away. A black car happens to drive by. It's men sent by the chairman to find Elder Mireille, and they accidentally save her. Elder Mireille deliberately tells the chairman she dreamed about her grandson. The chairman anxiously asks about the dream's content. Elder Mireille mysteriously says she can't reveal it yet. Yukyung attends a party of wealthy people to gather news leads and inadvertently sees Saeju in a suit and tie. Only then does Yukyung learn that Saeju is the chairman's grandson. After the party, Saeju asks Yukyung to keep his secret, especially from Na Mireille. He doesn't want his identity to scare Na Mireille away. The next day, Na Mireille and Kim Shin go on a date. Saeju calls wanting to invite Na Mireille to dinner at his home. Na Mireille says she's with someone else. Saeju asks who Na Mireille is with. Na Mireille doesn't answer, but Saeju has already guessed. Na Mireille and Kim Shin arrive at a park. Na Mireille inadvertently sees a couple shooting wedding photos on location. Na Mireille suddenly remembers Elder Mireille saying that if she's with Kim Shin, someone will die. Na Mireille instantly feels somewhat panicked. Yukyung knows about Saeju's feelings for Na Mireille and encourages him to actively pursue her, offering advice for a romantic confession. Then Yukyung goes to the company and invites Na Mireille to drink at a bar that evening. But when Na Mireille arrives at the bar, a group of people throw flower petals at her. Saeju walks out slowly holding flowers and confesses to Na Mireille. Just as Na Mireille is about to accept the flowers, Kim Shin rushes over. Suddenly everyone freezes. Just as Na Mireille is about to accept Saeju, rage rises in Kim Shin's heart. He walks up to them, criticizes and mocks them both, then angrily leaves. Na Mireille chases after Kim Shin to explain, but Kim Shin, still angry, won't listen. Watching Saeju drinking alone, Yukyung feels heartbroken. Yukyung finds Na Mireille and tells her to call Saeju to draw a clear line. Na Mireille dials Saeju's number and is about to speak when Saeju hangs up, saying he doesn't want to hear it. Then Kim Shin calls Saeju. Outside, Kim Shin says Saeju is just a basic level photographer whom he doesn't even consider a threat. Saeju coldly laughs and asks if a visual director can't like the company's rookie writer along with the host, and questions whether Kim Shin would give up Na Mireille if he were the TV station's president. On the way home, Kim Shin keeps thinking about Saeju's words and then calls someone to send over Saeju's resume. The next day, because of the show, Na Mireille seeks Elder Mireille's help. Elder Mireille warns her that she won't tell her anything until she follows her arrangements. Unexpectedly, all this is captured by surveillance equipment the chairman installed. The chairman questions who Na Mireille is. Elder Mireille lies, saying Na Mireille is her niece and the person Saeju likes. The chairman immediately calls Saeju to confirm. Saeju admits he does like Na Mireille. The chairman decides to meet Na Mireille immediately. Na Mireille is on the street collecting news material when the chairman deliberately strikes up a conversation, asking what bus she should take to get to Jamsil. Na Mireille checks the bus stop sign and helps her find the right bus. Just as the chairman is about to ask about Na Mireille's parents, the bus arrives. Na Mireille quickly pushes her onto the bus and enthusiastically swipes her own card for her. Watching the chairman squeezed on the bus, her assistant quickly gathers staff to chase after them. Afterward, the chairman calls Elder Mireille, saying she thinks Na Mireille is a good person. Yukyung runs into Elder Mireille at the company and questions why she told Kim Shin about the bar where Saeju was confessing. Since Kim Shin's appearance hurt Saeju, Elder Mireille says she dreamed Yukyung and Kim Shin got married and tells her to stop thinking about Saeju. Na Mireille applies to producer Bae for a chance to independently produce a show, proposing the idea of filming a haunted house special. Producer Bae says if this haunted house show succeeds, she'll make her an official writer. To get that haunted house feeling, the production team suggests having Na Mireille record alone, but Na Mireille doesn't know how to film. PD Lee suggests having Saeju teach Na Mireille. While Saeju is teaching Na Mireille how to film, Na Mireille apologizes for the confession incident. Saeju asks Na Mireille why she likes Kim Shin. Na Mireille says it's because Elder Mireille predicted Kim Shin is Na Mireille's husband. Saeju smiles, believing love shouldn't be based on someone else's words. That night, Elder Mireille walks down the street. Because it's too hot, she takes off her hat. Unexpectedly, passers-by give her strange looks. She hurriedly walks to a mirror and discovers her hair is already half white. One day here equals 1 month. She's rapidly aging. At this moment, her brother finds her. With tears in her eyes, Elder Mireille tells her brother she must stop Kim Shin and Na Mireille from being together and reveals to him that she traveled back in time. Her brother just thinks she's gone crazy again. Just as her brother is about to leave, Elder Mireille mentions that the scar on Na Mireille's shoulder was caused by her brother burning her. Her brother turns around in shock. This secret was known only to him. At this moment, Na Mireille and Kim Shin are filming in the haunted house. Kim Shin notices Na Mireille's foot is injured. Kim Shin tells Na Mireille to leave immediately to bandage it, but Na Mireille insists on staying to make her debut. Kim Shin can only carefully tend to her wound. Meanwhile, Yukyung invites Saeju to dinner and asks if Na Mireille said anything afterward. Saeju says Na Mireille told him she likes Kim Shin more. Just as Yukyung is secretly pleased, Saeju tells her he won't give up. In the darkness, Kim Shin helps Na Mirei up, and the two gaze at each other under the moonlight. The romantic atmosphere reaches its peak. Kim Shin can't help but lean in with his 15cm lips to kiss Na Mirei. At this moment, Na Mirei suddenly remembers what Elder Mirei said: if they're together, one of them will die. Na Mirei frantically durges Kim Shin eskis. By reading the diary left by the owner, they learn that this place isn't actually haunted as rumored, but rather the site of a tragic love story. The male owner suffered from cancer and was tormented by the illness every day. His wife devotedly cared for him without ever leaving his side, but the husband ultimately chose suicide to avoid being a burden to his wife. The wife, missing her husband, chose to follow him in death. Saeju is editing the footage Na Mirei and Kim Shin brought back. When he sees Kim Shin about to kiss Na Mirei, Saeju can't bear to watch and pauses the video. Back home, her brother proposes doing a DNA test to verify Elder Mirei's claims. Elder Mirei doesn't hesitate to pull out her own hair. Na Mirei proposes changing the haunted house program into a love story. PD Lee disagrees and directly strips Na Mirei of her writer status. Everyone feels it's unfair na Mirei. 3 days later, her brother receives the DNA test results confirming that Elder Mirei is indeed his sister from 25 years in the future. Her brother recalls Elder Mirei's words and finds Na Mirei, telling her to switch to a different TV station. Then he finds Kim Shin and tells him to stay away from Na Mirei. Kim Shin admits he really likes Na Mirei. Her brother says his personality will exhaust the people around him, and he'll truly be ruined in the future. Na Mirei finds Kim Shin and tells him her brother wants her to switch TV stations. Thinking about her brother's words, Kim Shin deliberately acts cold and tells her to make her own decision. Seeing Kim Shin's coldness, Na Mirei sadly leaves. Learning the news, Saeju finds Na Mirei and begs her to stay. Na Mirei is touched by this. The two go to a convenience store and eat ramen by the window, which happens to be seen by Yukyung passing by. The next day, Yukyung overhears Elder Mirei and Saeju on the phone. She sneaks into Elder Mirei's locker room and finds Elder Mirei's diary, discovering it's identical to Na Mirei's diary. Opening it, she reads that managing director Park Saeju got married, and the bride is indeed Seo Yukyung. Yukyung is shocked by this. Soon after, to test Na Mirei, the chairman pretends to be someone sponsoring her grandson's education and happens to run into them. At the same time, Elder Mirei deliberately invites Kim Shin over for a meal so he can witness all this. Saeju looks at Kim Shin at the door, feeling smug inside. At this moment, Kim Shin receives a text message revealing through investigation that Saeju is the chairman's grandson. The chairman asks Na Mirei if she's ever thought about quitting work to marry into a wealthy family and live an easy life with a rich man's son. Na Mirei says marrying into that kind of family would make her lose her dreams. The chairman asks if she likes Saeju. Na Mirei only says she considers him a friend. Saeju quickly adds that people's hearts can change. The chairman presses on, asking who the person she likes is. Na Mirei doesn't answer and deliberately changes the subject. Meanwhile, Kim Shin doesn't understand why Elder Mirei always targets him. Elder Mirei recalls her past. After Kim Shin lost his anchor job, he became self-destructive. She would come home exhausted every morning only to find him lounging on the couch watching TV. She knows he wouldn't believe her even if she told him, so she simply stays silent. On the other side, Yukyung is still reading Elder Mirei's diary. Hearing Elder Mirei's footsteps, Yukyung quickly tears out a page and hides it in her pocket. Elder Mirei sees Yukyung holding her diary and snatches it back. Yukyung probes, asking if Elder Mirei is envious that she and Saeju got married. Elder Mirei says it's just a novel she wrote. The next day, Yukyung comes to the office and, when no one's around, takes photos of Na Mirei's diary with her phone. Yukyung sends out the torn diary page and the photos, asking someone to confirm if they're from the same person. The haunted house show is being test broadcast with PD Lee excitedly directing from the sidelines. Na Mirei is disappointed seeing her work not being presented according to her vision, but at the end of the show, Kim Shin tells the poignant love story. PD Lee is furious, but Na Mirei's eyes fill with tears. Na Mirei excitedly runs to find Kim Shin, but he's already left. Na Mirei calls Kim Shin, but he sees the phone ringing and doesn't answer. Driving past the company entrance, he sees Na Mirei, recalls what her brother said to him, and sadly drives away. Yukyung receives the diary comparison results confirming the diary entries are from the same person. Yukyung finds Saeju and tells him everything, informing him that Elder Mirei traveled back from the future. Saeju asks, with a smile, what's written in the diary. Yukyung says it says they'll get married. Saeju laughs and says that's absolutely impossible. Yukyung is very disappointed by this. Soon after, the chairman finds Elder Mirei, hoping she'll predict her grandson's future. Elder Mirei deliberately says Saeju will become a beggar. The chairman is dissatisfied with this result and asks Elder Mirei to continue predicting. Elder Mirei takes the opportunity to ask her to continue funding her treatment. The chairman naturally doesn't refuse. Na Mirei searches newspapers and magazines for news leads and discovers through investigation a karaoke bar manufacturing fake foreign liquor. So Na Mirei cuts her hair, puts on makeup to look like a job applicant, and buys a pair of recording glasses. She comes to the company to tell everyone she wants to investigate. Na-Mire's idea gets everyone's approval, but her brother objects, worried about her safety. Saeju offers to personally protect Na-Mire. Her brother asks Saeju if he knows how to fight. Saeju boasts that he never lost a fight abroad as a kid. Her brother happily puts his arm around Saeju and asks him to protect his sister. Watching the three of them leave happily, Kim Shin feels a pang of sadness. Saeju takes Na-Mire to the karaoke bar and teaches her how to use the hidden camera to film. That night, Saeju drives Na-Mire home. Outside the door, Na-Mire suddenly thinks of Kim Shin, and at that moment, Kim Shin has his car parked nearby watching Na-Mire. The next day, everyone learns the subway incident caused a huge sensation and they even received a trophy from the emergency board. Everyone decides to go out and celebrate together. Everyone's having fun outside while the proud Kim Shin stays alone in the house, enviously watching everyone play. In the afternoon while cooking, watching his sister and Saeju happily washing vegetables together, her brother shows a satisfied smile. That night, Saeju is packing up and Yukyung comes over to help. Saeju tells Yukyung about taking Na-Mire to meet his grandmother and asks her to say good things about Na-Mire to his grandmother. Yukyung is hurt by this, saying she likes Saeju too, so why make her do something like this? After dinner, everyone sits around the campfire and her brother suggests everyone share a secret. Kim Shin says he'll go first and directly says he likes Na-Mire. After Kim Shin's public confession, everyone feels awkward. Everyone wishes they could dig a hole in the ground with their toes. Fortunately, her brother steps up and also says he likes Na-Mire. Then everyone joins in the teasing, all saying they like Na-Mire. Kim Shin quickly says he's not joking, but no one pays attention to him and they all keep teasing. Na-Mire feels uncomfortable about this, so she gets up and leaves without a word. Kim Shin sees this and quickly chases after her, then explains that he really does like Na-Mire. Na-Mire says she hasn't felt his sincerity. According to plan, Na-Mire goes to help in the bar's kitchen, preparing to find an opportunity to enter the back room where the fake liquor is made. Kim Shin asks colleagues about the bar where Na-Mire is working, but everyone deliberately avoids him. Producer Bae sees Kim Shin's concern and tells him the address of the bar where Na-Mire works. Kim Shin arrives outside the bar and is recognized by a waiter who says he's a fan. Kim Shin tells the waiter his sister is working inside and asks him to look after her, leaving his phone number. Kim Shin sits by the window across from the bar, ready to keep an eye on the bar's activities. Saeju comes over and asks Kim Shin why he doesn't just go see Na-Mire directly. Kim Shin instead asks when he'll be fired. Saeju says seriously that Kim Shin has commercial value to him. A worker making fake liquor suffers alcohol poisoning and is carried out. Na-Mire volunteers, saying she can go in as a replacement. Na-Mire diligently mixes the liquor, but because she's too focused, she attracts the manager's attention. The manager discovers something wrong with Na-Mire's glasses, furiously smashes them on the ground, and ties Na-Mire to a chair. Just then, the waiter comes in to deliver drinks and realizes something's wrong. He calls Kim Shin's phone. Kim Shin quickly notifies Na-Mire's brother and calls the police. Meanwhile, Saeju receives a call from the undercover waiter and quickly sends his men to stall for time. At this moment, Na-Mire tries to escape but gets beaten by the bearded man. At the critical moment, the waiter rushes in and hits the bearded man with a bottle, untying the rope binding Na-Mire. The police also arrive at this time and take the criminals away. Saeju congratulates Na-Mire on making this special report so successfully. Na-Mire happily high-fives Saeju. Watching the two of them with their fingers intertwined, her brother says they really match well. The chairman doesn't agree to broadcasting the fake liquor story on the show. Saeju and Kim Shin go together to find the chairman to speak up for Na-Mire. The two men work in perfect harmony. The chairman sees that Kim Shin also likes Na-Mire and teases them, saying they've actually joined forces over a woman, so they must be true love. The chairman sees right through their little schemes. Then the chairman asks the question everyone's been wanting to ask: who will ultimately win this woman's heart? Both of them fall silent after hearing this. That night, Saeju brings a gift to find Na-Mire but overhears Na-Mire confessing to her brother that she likes Kim Shin. Her brother is so angry he's going crazy. He quickly takes Elder Mire with him and calls out Kim Shin, telling Elder Mire to tell him everything. Elder Mire looks at Kim Shin who's examining the DNA results and says she's Na-Mire who traveled back in time. Kim Shin naturally doesn't believe this. Seeing this, Elder Mire has no choice but to tell him that in the days to come, he'll marry Na-Mire. Before marriage, Kim Shin will be hired by NTN TV station with a 1 billion won contract, but that will be the beginning of all their misfortune. Soon Kim Shin will be fired for arguing with the management department and incur a 1 billion won penalty. From then on, Na-Mire will work desperately every day to help Kim Shin pay off the debt. But when Na-Mire drags her exhausted body home each day, she gets no comfort from Kim Shin. Na-Mire's brother can't stand watching his sister work so hard to make money and suggests Kim Shin host small banquets, but Kim Shin's proud personality refuses to agree, and Kim Shin numbs himself with alcohol every day. Over time, as their child needs more money, Na-Mirai gradually can't stand Kim Shin's behavior and they start fighting frequently, until one day, they get into another argument on the street and don't notice that their child has left their side. With the sound of a crash, their child leaves the world forever. After hearing this, Kim Shin's heart begins to waver. Meanwhile, Saeju expresses his feelings to Na-Mirai, telling her he fell in love with her before Kim Shin did. Na-Mirai doesn't want to hold Saeju back and is about to politely decline, but Saeju says unless he sees her happy, he won't let go. Na-Mirai asks Kim Shin out for a meal. A little boy runs over and falls to the ground. Na-Mirai quickly helps the little boy up. Kim Shin sees this scene and thinks of elder Mirai crying over losing their child. At this moment, Kim Shin also begins to feel afraid. Na-Mirai returns home and, looking at her sleeping self from 25 years in the future, lies quietly beside her and softly says she'll work hard and won't let her travel back because of an unhappy life. Yukyung finds the chairman and tells her about elder Mirai's time travel. Unexpectedly, the chairman thinks Yukyung is doing this because she wants to get Saeju and warns her that even without Na-Mirai, Saeju's marriage partner could never be Seo Yukyung. That night, Saeju asks Na-Mirai out to wish her an early Merry Christmas and tells her he's leaving soon. Na-Mirai asks where he's going. Saeju doesn't answer and just hugs Na-Mirai tightly. Just as elder Mirai predicted, Kim Shin receives an invitation from NTN TV station. Kim Shin asks elder Mirai out and asks why she didn't travel back to before their child's accident, and if there's something big she's hiding from him. Elder Mirai nods but doesn't tell him what happened. At the same time, Saeju goes to Jeju Island, walking on the beach recalling the first time he saw Na-Mirai. Thinking of Na-Mirai's bright smile, Saeju's heart throbs. On Christmas Day, everyone receives notice of Kim Shin's leave and Saeju's resignation. Just as Na-Mirai is feeling sad, she suddenly receives a text from Kim Shin asking her to meet him at a restaurant for dinner. Na-Mirai is excited. When Na-Mirai arrives at the restaurant, she discovers Kim Shin is with a wealthy heiress. Na-Mirai quietly sits nearby and calls Kim Shin. Kim Shin picks up his phone but doesn't answer. Realizing Kim Shin's intention, Na-Mirai is saddened and gets up to leave. Watching Na-Mirai's figure outside the window, Kim Shin holds back his pain, while Na-Mirai silently cries alone on the street. The next day, Na-Mirai finds Kim Shin and asks why he did this. Kim Shin says he's giving Na-Mirai a signal to leave on her own and hopes she won't bother him anymore. Na-Mirai asks if he has some unspeakable difficulty. Kim Shin says if a man really likes a woman, he'll want to possess her no matter what, so he never liked her. Na-Mirai's heart is deeply wounded, and she turns and leaves crying. Heartbroken, Na-Mirai can only go to the company restroom to get some fresh air and compose herself. When she washes her face and returns to the office, she sees company executives crowding around Saeju. Na-Mirai is very surprised. Before she can speak, her brother pulls her aside. After a while, Na-Mirai learns that Saeju is the TV station's heir and is currently learning to take over the station. Saeju calls Na-Mirai to the library, hoping she'll treat him the same as before and not distance herself because he's the chairman's grandson. When they come out, they're spotted by Kim Shin. Na-Mirai and Kim Shin pass each other without acknowledging one another. Soon after, photos of Kim Shin dating the wealthy heiress are secretly taken and posted online, causing a big stir at the company. After seeing this, Na-Mirai hides in the changing room and silently cries. Saeju comes over and thoughtfully comforts Na-Mirai. Na-Mirai's defenses crumble instantly. She grabs Saeju's clothes and asks him why he's so good to her and why he's so considerate. Saeju doesn't say anything and just stays gently by her side. Yukyung finds elder Mirai and blames her for manipulating other people's destinies, sacrificing others' happiness for her own. After Yukyung leaves, elder Mirai falls into deep thought. Na-Mirai returns home and overhears elder Mirai's conversation with her brother, blaming them for hiding things from her. Elder Mirai has no choice but to tell Na-Mirai that after their child died, the two of them argued for 20 years. During one argument, Na-Mirai blurted out telling Kim Shin to go die. Having lost hope in life, Kim Shin really rushed out the door and ran into the middle of the road. And just like that, Kim Shin also left her. Learning the truth, Na-Mirai cries uncontrollably. The next day, Na-Mirai and Yukyung go out together to film a show. Since it's her first time as head writer, Yukyung encourages Na-Mirai, saying she'll definitely do well. The show is successfully completed, and everyone affirms Na-Mirai's abilities. Saeju also comes over to praise Na-Mirai. Just then, Kim Shin announces to everyone that today is his last time hosting the show and that he'll be leaving the Pandora's Box program starting today. With that, Kim Shin turns and leaves the TV station. Na-Mirai immediately wants to chase after him but is stopped by Saeju. Na-Mirai says she just wants to say goodbye to him. Only then does Saeju's anxious heart calm down. Na-Mirai asks Kim Shin if he chose to leave because of her and says elder Mirai already told her what will happen in 25 years. She also says she's really sorry for telling him to go die. Kim Shin says he just wants to succeed and it has nothing to do with anyone else. Na-Mirai holds back her pain and tells Kim Shin that maybe this is the best choice for both of them. Kim Shin laughs and thanks Na-Mirai for traveling back from 25 years in the future to stop them from being together. Thanks to her, he can live a completely different life, and he sincerely hopes she and Saeju will be happy together. After leaving, Kim Shin sadly sits on the roadside. Meanwhile, Na-Mirai is also heartbroken and crying non-stop. Saeju Saeju thoughtfully hands her his handkerchief. Na-Mirai gently takes it, and looking at Saeju, she says this is the last time she'll cry over Kim Shin. That night, Elder Mirai opens her notebook and discovers the recorded content hasn't changed at all. The scar Na-Mirai got in the haunted house hasn't appeared on her own foot either. Elder Mirai is very confused. The next day, Na-Mirai arrives at the company and finds the security guard is very attentive to her. Female colleagues are also gossiping about her relationship with director Saeju. Saeju calls Na-Mirai to meet up, but Na-Mirai doesn't want colleagues to misunderstand, so she wants to meet him outside. Saeju says he knows a perfect place. Elder Mirai prepares a table full of dishes waiting for Na-Mirai, only to discover Saeju came home with Na-Mirai. Her brother, Elder Mirai, Saeju, and Na-Mirai sit together for dinner. Everyone chats happily like a family. After dinner, Saeju comes to visit Na-Mirai's room and says her room is as warm as he imagined and makes him feel very relaxed. With that, he lies on the bed saying he's too tired and closes his eyes. Watching the sleeping Saeju, Na-Mirai gently covers him with her pink Barbie coat. Her brother happily tells Elder Mirai in the living room that the more he looks at Saeju, the better he likes him. The next day, Saeju wants to buy clothes for Na-Mirai, telling her to take whatever she likes and he'll buy everything for her. Na-Mirai jokes, saying don't regret it, women never have enough clothes. Just then, Saeju sees Kim Shin and the wealthy heiress nearby too. Saeju lies, saying there's no discount now, and quickly pulls Na-Mirai away. Na-Mirai laughs, saying rich people are even stingier. Saeju quickly says they should pick a better, more expensive place, but Na-Mirai takes Saeju to Dong Demon Wholesale Market instead. The two happily try on hats. Na-Mirai picks out men's clothing for Saeju. Saeju says pitifully that he already has plenty of clothes and reminds her that today is about buying clothes for her. Na-Mirai says the clothes are for another man. Saeju nervously asks who. Na-Mirai laughs, saying it's her brother, of course. Meanwhile, her brother, wearing the new clothes Elder Mirai bought him, arrives at an upscale restaurant only to learn his sister brought him here for a blind date. Never having dated before, her brother nervously tries to escape but is pulled back by his sister. Watching her brother on the blind date, Elder Mirai's eyes glisten with tears. Having done all this, Elder Mirai prepares to take the time machine back to her own world, but the man in black doesn't know how to operate the time machine. Elder Mirai senses something's wrong, snatches the time machine manual, and asks why there's no scar on her foot and why the diary hasn't changed. The man in black has no choice but to tell the truth. After Elder Mirai returns to her own world, nothing here will change. She's only changed the fate of Na-Mirai in this timeline, because Elder Mirai and Na-Mirai aren't in the same timeline at all. They're completely independent of each other. After hearing this, Elder Mirai drops the manual and frantically runs out of the time machine. Elder Mirai runs wildly down the street. She wants to tell Na-Mirai all of this. At this moment, Saeju is holding Na-Mirai's hand, about to walk her home. Na-Mirai mentions that when she went to Jeju Island before, she almost drowned in the ocean, but someone saved her, though she still hasn't found the savior. Saeju tells Na-Mirai that he's that savior and that he fell in love with her at first sight and has been silently liking her ever since. Na-Mirai is moved. Saeju takes out a ring he's been preparing and proposes to Na-Mirai. Seeing that Na-Mirai doesn't refuse, Saeju takes Na-Mirai's hand and puts the ring on her finger. The two happily embrace. Meanwhile, Kim Shin looks at the contract terms, which clearly state that in case of breach, he'll pay double the penalty. Kim Shin recalls what Elder Mirai said, but to make Na-Mirai give up on him, he still signs the contract. Elder Mirai finds her brother and tells him what the man in black said. Her brother tells Elder Mirai not to tell Na-Mirai the truth, hoping his sister can be happy with Saeju. The next day, Saeju takes Na-Mirai to a party with wealthy people. He thought Na-Mirai would really dislike this kind of occasion, but surprisingly, Na-Mirai happily says she's curious about what kind of people Saeju associates with. Just as they arrive at the banquet hall, they run into Kim Shin and the wealthy heiress. Saeju deliberately takes Na-Mirai's hand and introduces her as his girlfriend. During the meal, Saeju learns from friends that the wealthy heiress really likes Kim Shin and is preparing to get engaged to him. Hearing this, Na-Mirai makes an excuse to get up and go out to clear her mind, but unexpectedly runs into Kim Shin. Na-Mirai asks Kim Shin if he's doing well. Kim Shin says, as you can see, very well. Na-Mirai smiles and says the two of them are a good match. After Na-Mirai leaves, Kim Shin finally releases his emotions, and tears stream down his face. Seeing Na-Mirai return from her absence, Saeju anxiously stands up and asks where she went. Na-Mirai doesn't say anything and just looks at Saeju with a gentle expression. Na-Mirai returns home and sees her future self from 25 years ahead, saying she's really grateful she traveled back to change her fate. Kim Shin is doing so much better now than when he was with her. After hearing this, Elder Mirai feels she's hurt many people, but she doesn't have the courage to tell Na-Mirai the truth. The next day, Na-Mirai sees a man with a blood letter on his body. The man wants to seek justice for his deceased son because using Taegyu Corporation's humidifier, the disinfectant inside caused severe lung damage to his 2-year-old son, leading to his death. Because Taegyu Corporation is a major advertising supplier to all media outlets and has enormous influence, no TV station dares to report his grievances. Just as Na-Mirai is about to leave, she she discovers two reporters interviewing him. Seeing the NTN logo on the reporters' bags, Na Mireille immediately realizes this is related to Kim Shin. Na Mireille calls Elder Mireille and asks about the reason for Kim Shin's breach of contract and debt. Elder Mireille says Kim Shin will suffer this fate because he reported content his superiors told him not to report. Counting the days, it's today. At the same time, the wealthy heiress tells Kim Shin not to get involved in this matter, or he'll be ruined. Kim Shin doesn't understand why doing the right thing is wrong. The victim runs to the TV station to find Kim Shin, believing he's a conscientious media person and hoping he'll help broadcast the story of what happened to his son. Kim Shin recalls what the wealthy heiress said and turns to leave. Before the evening news begins, looking at messages about the increasing number of victims from the disinfectant, Kim Shin sighs deeply. Just as the show is about to end, Kim Shin still reveals that the humidifier disinfectant produced by Taegyuk Corporation is harmful to people, with over 20 people suffering serious lung damage or even death. Everyone is shocked by Kim Shin's actions. Na Mireille finds her colleagues, hoping everyone will work together to broadcast this story on the TV station. After Na Mireille's persuasion, everyone agrees to fight alongside her. Na Mireille finds Saeju and tells him her idea. Because Taegyuk Corporation is the TV station's main revenue source, Saeju is unwilling to oppose them. Na Mireille is somewhat disappointed. Saeju asks if it's because of Kim Shin. Na Mireille says she can't ignore the victims, and helping conscientious media people is also his wish, isn't it? After Na Mireille leaves, Saeju thinks about what she said and finally picks up the phone and tells Na Mireille to go ahead and do it. The chairman sees the broadcast and is furious, losing her temper at Saeju. Unexpectedly, Saeju directly throws down a resignation letter. The chairman finds Na Mireille and tells her to leave Saeju, believing Na Mireille influenced him. She warns Na Mireille that if she doesn't agree, she'll make sure Kim Shin can't survive in this industry. Thinking Na Mireille would compromise, she never expected Na Mireille to say boldly that she won't break up with him, adding that a person's heart won't be shaken by the pressure of power. That night, Na Mireille calls Saeju to her home and prepares a hearty meal for him. Saeju tells Na Mireille he wants to study abroad. He doesn't want to do things he doesn't like, under his grandmother's protection, and hopes to improve his abilities to create more valuable media content. Saeju wants Na Mireille to go with him. Na Mireille says she wants to be apart from him for a while, saying she's been accepting his efforts all along and wants to do something for him too. She wants more time to become a person who can help Saeju. With that, Na Mireille takes off the engagement ring and tells Saeju that if his heart hasn't changed in the future, he can give it to her then. Saeju smiles, holds Na Mireille's hand, and tells her to keep wearing it, saying his feelings won't change. Na Mireille gets up to pour tea. Saeju hugs Na Mireille from behind. Na Mireille gently holds Saeju's hand, tears streaming down her face. Then the man in black brings news that Kim Shin from the other world was revived through CPR. Elder Mireille decides to leave and return to her own world. At the same time, Kim Shin leaves the TV station, but his actions gain affirmation from many people. When Kim Shin walks out of the TV station, he sees Na Mireille walking toward him. Na Mireille tells him about Elder Mireille leaving and tells him that Elder Mireille's Kim Shin is still alive, but she still won't be with Kim Shin. After all, who would want to be with a man who owes 1 billion won in debt? Kim Shin laughs and pats Na Mireille's head. 3 years later on Christmas Eve, Na Mireille is already a well-known writer and is even invited by Yu Kyung to appear on her show. Today happens to be the day her new book is released. Saeju finishes his study abroad early and returns home. The butler prepares to pick up Saeju, but Saeju says he wants to go somewhere. Na Mireille's brother has also gotten married and had children, with a second child on the way. Kim Shin also won his lawsuit with a lawyer's help, changing the fate of his billion-won debt, and hosts an online show that receives many positive reviews. That night, Na Mireille comes to a bookstore and picks up her new book. Just as she's walking past, Kim Shin walks over, and at this moment, Saeju also arrives at this bookstore. Perhaps this is fate. Na Mireille passes by both men. Na Mireille, who was about to leave, seems to think of something and quickly turns back, but the sight of the two men in front of her fills her with mixed emotions. The finale of this drama is an open ending that doesn't reveal whether Na Mireille chooses Saeju or Kim Shin. If it were you, what would you choose? Please share your choice in the comments. And with that, the recap of the Korean drama, Future Choice, comes to a complete end. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Dino Kdrama. See you in the next Korean drama.